in it and
That's
get
what
in
I
it well.
do. That's what I do. That's what I do.
You write in a book, I write it in a Word doc. We
Yeah, we be writing. We be jamming.
be writing, we be chilling, because we can't go anywhere.
Yeah. Uh-oh. There's something missing from this equation.
Something's missing. I see your videos.
See videos? Yay, videos!
Our videos there.
Okay, that's there. Maybe it's just a low volume on the mixer. Oh, maybe I need to turn this dude on. The minstrel, because the minstrel needs his money. There we go. Now the minstrel's working.
Making the noises.
Making the noises, doing the things. How are you out there in the internet?
Howdy, everybody.
It is Tuesday night, Tuesday evening. The sun's still up, but you know, that's just because that's what time of year it is. So
Late days, always a good thing.
you can hear us? Awesome. Audio's working. We had a slight hiccup as we were getting ready because I turn the stream on 5 minutes prior to allow things to kind of sync up, and as soon as I hit the stream, I get a little error message saying output not working, and I was like, oh, quick, check settings. No.
Life is glitching. Now make a left turn.
Left turn, right turn, but hopefully it's all looking good. Everything's working right. So yeah, it is Scuba and The Ry, our weekly podcast where we talk about movies, games, and whatever the hell else we feel like talking about for the night with you wonderful people watching. And we thank you and highly appreciate you watching us. Want to shout out and a thank you to Sirenscape. Go to sirenscape.com. They have a whole plethora of background musics and soundboards you can use for your tabletop games. We use it for our podcast because, you know, it's fun. You can check them out. We've been using them for, God, can you believe next month it'll be almost 2 years?
Yeah, we've been using it pretty long.
Pretty long. It's been pretty solid. They have this wonderful online player, so even if you can't play at the same table yet, you can still play online with your players. Go check it out for more information. And if you're enjoying this, please be sure to hit that like button. If you're new here, hit the subscribe, hit the bell notifications so you can be notified when more videos come out. And if you want to support the studio, in the description there's a couple of ways. If you want to, you can go to patreon.com/scuba studio and become a patron. We have a new thing. We just started it last week. We had a lot of fun doing it last week, so we're definitely going to keep this train rolling. That is going to be the Scuba and The Ry after show, where we will go live on Patreon for our Patreon members. So it's an AMA. We're going to continue the conversation. Gonna let you know now, there's probably going to be spoilers for anything we talk about, because you know what, it's afterwards. We let our hair down. I don't have a whole lot of hair to let down, but you get my point. We understand each other, right? So come check us out there if you want to be a patron. Check out the after show there. Tonight we got a couple of things. Latest movie reviews from Ry, of course. A couple of reviews. We got the new Space Jam movie, and we have the new Nicolas Cage movie Pig, which Ry checked out. So he's going to convince me to watch Space Jam, or he's going to try. Maybe he's going to try and convince you too. It's on HBO Max, so there's no excuse for me not to watch it. Pig, on the other hand, I'm going to have to wait till August to check out. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Hi, everybody in the chat. Ry, what you been up to, my friend?
Lots of different things. And parties out and ready for my godson on Saturday. My friend Chris Sunday afternoon downtown Norbeck, and then just a random hangout at my mom's house. Still hang out, drinks, how we roll. Other than that, not too much else going on. Other than I'm slowly working on that new story. The story of Stone Travelers. That's the name of the book's story. So I'm working my way through that. And also, I started a new book, little bio by Jay-Z called Made in America. Not as thick as some of the other biographies I've read, but it's definitely very thought and captivating. It goes deep on his lyrics and his lyricism, as well as his how he's worked through where he started from and where he's come today. So far it's been a good read. It won't take me long to finish that. Playing games, watching movies, and being stranded at home. That's about it.
Alrighty. I had a quick question come in for Roll20 links. I had to kick that over because, you know, I'm the guy who helps out where I can help out regardless of what's going on. But Ry's audio is a little touch and go. All right.
A little touch and go on his end.
Okay, we can do a quick adjust. Turn off the DB. Oh wait. Oh, what you do? Okay. Alright, audio's a little touch and go. Give me 1 second. Let's see if I can fix this on the fly. Fix this on the fly. Stop audio 2. This desktop audio 2 properties. Default, no, not the right. All right, go with that there. We'll turn that one off. All right, Ry, give us a shout. What do you say?
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Line up your TV. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, that looks like it's working there. Okay, cool. Let's see if I can click. Yeah, it's not pulling it there. All right. So we turned off the we turned off that one. So give us a shout in the chat. Can you hear us now? Can you hear Ry better?
Can you hear us? Let me turn the volume on YouTube as well for me. Can I hear
Maybe
myself?
A slight delay, but should be coming in there. Hey Debbie, how you been? Alrighty. Quick succession of troubleshooting. That's what we do. It's live. Reverb, but sounds clearer.
I can hear myself too. So.
Speak some other things real quick.
Testing on the fly. Q says better now.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Let me flip that there. All right. Let's see if we can't knock the reverb down a bit there. All right. So if there's
yeah,
a little
Scott
bit...
says the same thing.
Okay, sounding better now. That's awesome.
All right.
Okay, so hopefully we tweak the reverb. Yay! Eat, work, sleep, rinse, repeat.
Not.
I understand. I understand that, Debbie. I understand.
Yeah, that's what we all do. But recap: 2 parties, reading this book, writing a new story, games, movies, drinking. That's my weekend. All right, Scoop, take it away.
I don't know if I can follow that up, but I'm going to try.
Just had to recap just in case nobody heard. So.
I understand. God, let's see. I did do the drinking thing. Haven't really done a lot of the reading thing, unless you count an audiobook. I've been working through the Da Vinci biography. Trying to remember. It's the same guy who wrote the Steve Jobs biography an eon ago. Walter Isaacson did a biography on Leonardo da Vinci. I'm working through that. It's very fascinating. All kind of, pieced together from the various writings and whatnot that have survived. Working on the project house. Was out there this weekend. I was out there not as much as I wanted to be, but I was out there enough. And really was enjoying it because, getting to move around and whatnot. Although it was pretty hot this weekend. I mean, it's 30. If you're familiar with the Celsius stuff, it was like 30 degrees Celsius most of the weekend. For
Pretty
those of
hot.
us who are familiar, that's like 80, 90 degrees. It's still too stupid hot with the humidity. But Sunday evening, one of my buddies was down from Maryland. So we all got together at the local brewery and had a few brews and chit chat, and then headed over to Moe's for some late dinner. Saturday, I went out to the Apple store because talking with the wife, and we went out there to trade in a couple of old iPads and my old MacBook Air, and I walked out with a brand new MacBook Pro. Which I'm really enjoying. It's matches my phone and with the space gray, so getting used to that. I wanted something a little easier for running video conferencing when I'm at work, as well as something I could do some better audio editing. MacBook Air for audio editing, it's a little limited, especially with running GarageBand like I do for my audio edit for the podcast. So should start having some audio, some MP3 files running up on the Podbean here soon. As well as working on some web dev, because I've been procrastinating. I know I'm a horrible person, but
Procrastination.
also took
That's
my wife's
your
car.
function.
Took my wife's car in to get serviced, get new shoes, and some things checked out. And then I think Friday night was the interesting thing because we had a work function down at the Shack at the oceanfront. If you're familiar with the Hampton Roads, there's an outdoor kind of bar hangout area called the Shack.
Yeah.
Pretty fun. However, in July in Virginia Beach with a bunch of Hampton Roads natives and a thunderstorm for half of the event. Yeah, typical. It was a lot of fun.
That is definitely everything in a nutshell to describe our summers here.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was out, it was moving, it was talking, it was hanging out with people. It was a lot of fun. Got some so that was the majority of it. Everything else has just kind of been working through some stuff. I've still got a project I'm in the middle of, but I picked up a new sharpening stone set because I have chisels that are dull and horrible, and I don't know how to sharpen my chisels. So I didn't have sharpening stones. I now have sharpening stones, so now I'm going to try that. Maybe I'll do a quick little Instagram live video or some YouTube shorts on me trying to figure out how to sharpen chisels and just be like, hey, watch me totally screw this up, but I'm going to learn. So hopefully you'll learn with me. Anyway. Oh, where was I?
Talking. Debbie
just checking
says the
chat
Shack
now.
is still around. Yep.
He was like, audiobooks count. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Just finished the new J.R. Ward book. Yeah, the Shack is still around. I'd never been there before, but then again, I tend to avoid Norfolk and the ocean front at all costs. Because, as Debbie will attribute, I have some bad history with the ocean front. I have some good history too, but quite a few bad points.
I'm a little opposite. A lot of great stuff going down there, but it does happen. So
it does.
I understand.
It does. Well, just after I got my driver's license, we drove down there. And that's where I got into my first accident.
Okay.
I misjudged a parking spot and driving a truck into a spot that should have been for a car. I misjudged it and scraped the side of a van. So that wasn't fun. And then several months later, we were out there late at night, hanging out, and I inadvertently backed into another vehicle. So yeah, I don't have a lot of success with driving in the ocean front. So granted, that was almost 20 years ago. That's a little over 20 years ago now. So maybe it's a little bit better, but I've seen the way young people drive, and I'm like, no. I've transitioned.
Yeah. Debbie's like, whatever are you talking about? La la la.
Oh, she knows. She was with me for both incidents.
Yeah. You are the eyewitness. So watch out, people. We have
she was
culprits.
there for both incidences.
We have false alibis. You are there. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, good times in Ridgemont High. Alrighty. Oh, yeah, we can go into some of the other stuff I did on our after show, but let's move into those movie reviews and then kind of go from there. We got a couple of odds and ends, weird things like who'd have thought teaching an alligator a lesson would involve throwing it on top of a building? No, that's not going to go horribly wrong in any way you look at it. But
Hey
yeah, let's get on to
now.
movie reviews.
Hey now. Oh,
Movie number one.
what is
Space
movie
Jam.
number one?
A
Space
New
Jam.
Legacy. So this film has got King James as the titular basketball pro that is sucked into the anime world with the Warner Brothers tunes and a bunch of other things. And this is this is out on HBO Max and it's out in theaters.
Yeah.
But I haven't sat down to watch this so far, and I'll be honest, and this is straight up honest, judging from the trailers, I wasn't too impressed, or it didn't strike me as being very interesting to kind of watch. Maybe I'm a sucker for the nostalgia of the 90s film Space Jam, but maybe Ry can convince me that this is worth investing 2.5, 3 hours to watch.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Ry, what you got?
All right, Space Jam: A New Legacy. It's the latest iteration of a popular property from the '90s, mostly from kids my age, from Space Jam. And like you said, it centers around LeBron James, and he has to team up with Bugs Bunny because what happens in this film is that LeBron James's son gets kidnapped by an AI, a rogue AI. So when that happens, he has to team up with Bugs Bunny and crew to play a basketball game to get back his son from this rogue AI. From the onset, this film plays along the same foundation as the first one. If you put the film side by side, they have the same kind of general beat. You know, you have your buildup of story, characters, and standard conflict. Through the certain conversation and convenient mishaps. It leads them to the Warner Brothers Burbank studio, where you start to see a little bit growth of some family drama between the father-son dynamic. It's nothing you haven't seen before. It's very general, but at least they provide a little bit of heart to the story. Because once they get into the WB universe, they get dragged into the WB universe through this, AI and through childhood nostalgia and mixture of cartoon foley. You get a mixture of the Looney Tune dynamic with LeBron James in the mix. On the surface, you can feel like that this film, going through at least most of it, that it is commercialized, heavy on the Warner Brothers nostalgia. There's a lot of pop culture references. There's a lot of like quick one-liners that if you're a fan of a lot of the Warner Brothers properties, you'll notice it right off the bat, at least in the beginning. Once the film actually starts to get into the nitty-gritty of the basketball game and starts to elaborate on what is the center focus of this story, that father-son dynamic, the film actually starts to turn into something more of a family fun film with some character dynamics within the visual prowess. Outside of its basic standardness, what really draws you in the film are two things: visualization of the cartoon characters in 3D, the basketball game, and the different creative twists that they add into the basketball game. It's not just a one-on-one good versus evil, but there's actually character development. There's actually story promise, and actually not your typical typical villain that you would see in other films.
Mustache twirling villain.
Yeah, mustache twirling villain. You got my words. Don Cheadle actually plays a very great charismatic villain with the AI, because what he's doing might seem villainy, but it's all in the aspect of this kind of loneliness. He's left to his own prowl, and he feels like that he doesn't have he doesn't get the worth that he deserves because of all the stuff he actually does for WB, because he's his own AI. So it adds that little dynamic. But overall, the film is cookie cutter. It had your typical hero climax, but it does all in line with typical family fun.
Okay. There was a lot of flack on this one though.
Yeah.
Several different directions.
Yeah.
But what did it do to stand out from the?
What it stood out from the original was that actual, like, slight endearment of that father-son dynamic. You actually get to see character growth. You actually get to see a real reason and purpose for conflict, the basketball game, and the resolution. Even if it's very predictable and it very follows that slapstick blunt humor you would expect in a very Looney Tune kind of way, and even some pop culture references that can be mind-numbing at times. There's just one particular moment that it was, but overall, it's that family dynamic that actually it kind of build up and makes you want to watch it through. And the character designs, especially for the Goon Squad, adds more in a way gravitas than the original, because they actually have a point to how they create the characters.
All right. What about as terms of like Easter eggs? Like I think there was one comment I heard that the Warner Brothers was trying to do to this film like Disney did with Wreck-It Ralph, with having all of these blink and you miss it characters from all these different properties.
I would say that it is very on point with that interpretation, but I would say Wreck-It Ralph did it a lot better because they ingrained it in the world building, whereas it was just straight up just references. Even if it's straight references and pop culture references are just there to cash in, to throw different properties for people to be aware of, it doesn't take away from the overall journey. It's just kind of there. Not good, not bad. It's just kind of there. And some of it can be funny. Like the Rick and Morty gag was pretty hilarious. Yeah, it was quick, but it was funny.
Okay, so what's the final verdict?
Overall, it's not the greatest, it's not the worst. It's straight down the middle line, family fun film that you can just throw on, enjoy it on the couch with the family, get some laugh, and move on with your day. 3 out of 5 theater discount, and I think it's perfectly fine on HBO Max on streaming.
Okay,
right where it is.
All right. So if you got HBO Max, go check it out. If you want to brave the theater, go check it out. I think I'll try and catch it on HBO Max in the near future, just for the sake of seeing it, so we can discuss it later at a later point.
I think you'll enjoy some of the references in there when you see it.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
All right. Review number 2. The new Nicolas Cage film, Pig. Now this is an indie film, correct? This is kind of an indie film, and this is essentially a guy who lives by himself and has a pet pig that he uses to hunt for mushrooms. Because pigs have been pigs have been used to do that in the past.
Yeah.
Because they have a very sensitive snout. But somebody kidnaps the pig, and then he has to face his past to find the pig.
In a way, yeah.
But I think, judging from some of the chats I was in with you, there seems to be a sense that this is probably one of the best performances from Nicolas Cage we have seen in a very long time, or very long time.
It stretched that out very, very long time. Like, literally, this isn't a cash and grab that you expect Nicolas Cage to be in. When you see his name pop up and when a movie's come out, you think it's going to be just a throwaway, so bad it's so good kind of film.
Well,
and
to
him
be
being over the
fair,
top.
I mean, he had a lot of tax issues, so he had to take every role that was offered so he could pay his tax bills.
Yeah, touche, point taken. But when people see his name, they associate it with certain things.
Oh yeah. Plus, he's a method actor, so he can get a little out there in some of his his prep for a character. So, tell us about Pig.
Pig. All right. Pig is, like you said, the new movie starring Nicolas Cage in the role of Rob. Rob is a truffle hunter who is living in the wilderness of Oregon, and after a certain event, the pig that he's living with, that he's formed a bond with, hunting these truffles, gets stolen. So after the pig gets stolen, that's where Rob goes out, leaves his little ambience of the woods, and heads back into a world he thought he'd never go back into, just to find out who stole his pig. From the beginning, on the foundation, it's built on a very thematic approach, which you would be familiar with if you've seen films like John Wick. Something happens leads to a revenge plot. From the beginning, that's what you think is going to happen. But building out of that premonition of that expectation, what you have is a very, what I would call a change for the better. This film takes a very simplistic approach on the surface, but it drives this slow building of this character of Rob through a more poignant perspective. And what you find out is that when he moves through the film and when he has to go back into Portland, Oregon, back to a place that he thought he'd never go back, what happens is that through his initial encounters that become typical detective work, it turns the typical revenge tale into a thematic idea of personal loss. So what you have is a film that's building through the perception of revenge, but you're seeing him go from place to place and interacting with different people and characters that help him become mesmerized with his unexpected choices in life, and some where he has to face certain fractures in his own soul. Not only does he have to do that, his business partner, Amir, played by Alex Wolff, has to do the same thing. And as the film starts to move through this emotional abstract of life and personal loss, they start to find some reconnections that create this avenue of reflection for what is the point of life. And just through acting in itself, what this film does is that as he starts to reveal the truth behind what happened to the pig and the people that are involved, it also provides a stoic complementary to how astute his character is in Portland. He's a very known person in Portland in the food world there. So whenever his name comes up in certain circles, they literally drop their things and kind of like bow to him, not in a very king way, but it's just his name is known. Like if you hear Rob, I forget his last name, you will watch out and you will do certain things. And it's just a very enthralling journey. And what makes this film so much above the rest is that it does something that I think makes great films superb, is that it gives exposition and it gives emotional detail, not through forced talking or stuff, just through conversation, through subtle movement, through expression. And when you get to the final act, you see how that revenge tale turns around into a more dramatic acceptance of his place in life now. Not just him, but certain other characters that you find have a connection to his past. So overall, it's just a unexpected tale of life, kind of like the same kind of feeling I had when I watched Nomadland and Sound of Music. It just kind of hits you after the fact. So,
all right. So what are we calling this one in the review scale?
I think this is one of the best films of the year. It's going to probably be in my top 10, maybe top 5 films of the year. The best performance I've seen from Nicolas Cage in quite some time. Maybe even award nominee worthy. 4.5 out of 5. It is award worthy kind of film.
All right. I know it's currently in theaters right now. I checked the date for Apple, iTunes, and whatnot being available in early August. I think August 3rd or 4th. So if it's there, it's probably also going to be on the other streaming platforms like Prime and whatnot. So if you're curious about checking this out and don't want to brave the theaters, go check it out. If you can check out theaters, This is definitely on my list.
Yeah. A very slow moving film, so it takes its time, but it's very much one of those simmering, worthy accomplishments.
Alrighty.
Action Man.
So we had a question in the chat while we were talking about reviews, and that was Willy's Wonderland that Nicolas Cage was in. This was the Five Nights at Freddy's flipped on its head kind of thing. And Ry, you need to slide yourself a little to the...
I'm trying.
Oh, we got no, the other way. Kirby's dominating. There we go.
There we go.
Back the other way.
Am I good?
A little bit more. Move a little bit more. Other way, other way. There we go. Perfect.
Okay. I never know. It's hard to do it when I'm at home.
But yeah, Willy's Wonderland. Have you checked that one out?
I want to because it is a knockoff of Five Nights at Freddy's, and it looks like that crazy so good it could be fun film. So once I find it online, I will definitely watch it.
I remember I saw it on iTunes. I don't know, but it might be on the Google Play Store because I know you're a Google guy and I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm an Apple guy. But yeah, apparently Nick Cage goes the whole film without saying a word.
That's what I heard. So I'm curious on how that plays out.
I'm very curious because I like the premise of it. I'll be honest, I like the premise. I like the idea of, okay, you have a drifter, you have a cursed Chuck E. Cheese or Five Nights at Freddy's kind of entertainment place that has these animatronic creatures and they're hostile and whatever, and then it's like, nope, he's worse. I'm almost expecting one of those kind of scary movie moments where like from Scary Movie 2, where the clown thought he was being terrifying until the guy's like, oh no, let me flip the script on you. So he bought it on DVD. Okay. I'm going to check it out on stream and we'll get back to you on that.
Yeah. Once I find it, I'll let you know.
Alrighty. So what else we got, Ry? And curating the notes as always, which I greatly appreciate.
No problem. A little bit. There's a beep outside. We do have a season review, but we'll save that for later. We got games. We got record-breaking dollar amounts. We got.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Xbox breaks the US dollar record. What is up with that?
So I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat while you bring it up.
All right, I'm looking at it. So
what it is that Nintendo Switch still extended its streak as the leading hardware platform
fair.
Terms of unit of sales, but Xbox Series XS took the top spot in dollar amount for platforms, setting a new sales record in the US for Xbox platforms.
All right, so let's see. As shared by the MPD Group's Matt, the Xbox is 2021, the best of Xbox platforms since 2011. Performance helped the June video game hardware dollar sales jump 112% when compared to June 2020. Something in the neighborhood of $401 million in units sold.
Yes. So
That's
it's
impressive.
Making its bangs for its buck. In the summer, even though it can still be hard to find both the Xbox and the PS5, it's still making its dollar amount. On top of that, Sony is still the PS5 is still the fastest selling console in US history.
Yeah, PS5, because as soon as they come in, they're sold. But it's interesting how PS5's got the best-selling game of 2021 so far, which is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which I watched the Gamers Little Playground video for it, and I'm just like, this is an awesome looking game.
It does. Ratchet Clank has always had that unique spin of creativeness and bombasticness. So just seeing the gameplay just makes me want to get a PS5 to play it.
Yeah, me personally, I like Rivet. I like Rivet's story. Yeah. So I think it's really, I think the overall game is amazing. Yeah. Can't wait to hands on it, but I'm probably waiting until the PS5 redesign in 2022 before I go out and buy a PS5. I just picked up the Nintendo Switch, so I'm a recent Switch convert. I've been playing Super Metroid on it. But I can see why Switch is definitely moving product because that is versatile as all get out.
Versatile, very accessible, a lot of different games you can download from known titles to lots and lots of indie titles. So
speaking of the Switch, Valve commented this past week, over the course of the last week, has announced their latest incarnation of taking your Steam library off your PC. And they released, which is essentially a PC version of the Switch,
Yes, sir.
that you can play your Steam games on. It looks like the Switch in terms of it's a screen with with handhelds on either side for the controller. You're supposed to be able to load up your games via an SD card. It's got some pretty impressive hardware to power it.
Yeah. It is a handheld. This fits in the line with people that have a lot of games on the Steam library and love to play PC games, and you can take it on the go. Starting console model starts at $399. It does run on a Linux OS. So not only does it run the Steam games and platform, you can also download other apps and browse and do other things outside of just the Steam games. But just being able to have all that stuff in your library, be able to play it on your hands, and there is a lot of games in that Steam library. Does pique interest? I think it would definitely pique interest for people that do play a lot of games on Steam. You can take any of those strategy games, those MMOs, those over-the-top shooters on the go. So,
comment in there, which games would drop their prices. You typically don't find them for less than $60. That's fair,
true.
unless it's a game that's just fallen out of popularity and you can get it at GameStop as a pre-owned, then you might get a lower price. But
yeah. When it comes to the Switch, definitely that is one thing that's like their games just stay at one price unless you get it used or some kind of greatest hits collection.
But again, still, given the amount of effort that goes into it, $60 for a cartridge is not terrible.
Yeah, and Nintendo.
But yeah, you were talking about how the Valve system, the more money you pay, the more onboard storage, but it has an SD slot, and you can get SD cards pretty cheap.
Yeah.
I know when I picked up a 256 gigabyte micro SD card for my Switch, that cost me $40.
Yeah, I have a SD card in my Switch as well. I can't remember what size, but it's barely full. But that's just because a lot of the games I download are the indie titles, and the indie titles are very small in size, but very fun in stature.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think this is gonna work as well as the last couple of times Valve tried to take their library off of take Steam library off of PCs. I mean,
it's a very high price to pay for it. There's a lot of versatility, but
hell, I've got a launch Steam Link still in the box. Never been hooked up. I've got the Steam Link controller right here as well. It's got a layer of dust on it because I haven't hooked it up. And I mean, this was one of their launch things, what, about 10 years ago?
Yeah, it was a few years ago.
And then they tried that cloud-based system. That didn't work out so well for them either.
Maybe third time's the charm.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt because for at least they're trying.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the Switch design is pretty impressive in terms of the fact that you can take it, put it in a dock, unless you're one of those people who bought a Switch Lite, which I don't know why you bought a Switch Lite, but you bought a real Switch.
I'm not going to go there. I had my discussion on it on a podcast long ago. So
yeah, listen to our past episodes. We railed on the Switch Lite versus
you railed.
Switch,
I burned.
But yeah, I've got a regular Switch. You put it in the dock. You play it on the TV, or you do like what a lot of people do, like yourself does. You hardly ever put it in the dock. It's just unless to charge it. Otherwise, you're constantly. It's just I'm on the go, so I'm playing this on the go.
Yep, that's what I do. In the store, in the shop, outside, I have it in my hand.
So, yeah, I mean, but if because of that popularity of functionality, maybe this will work for Valve. Who knows? Maybe those diehard PC gamers be like, oh, this won't work. I won't do it. I spent $10,000 on my PC to run all these games at the ultra high. I stood in line for the latest NVIDIA 30 whatever graphics card. So no, I'm not gonna buy it handheld that's as big as my graphics card. No. You do great. If you do, I mean, this would be curious to see to get more exposure because I know personally there's a lot of games in my library that I've never.
Trust me, I'm just as bad. I'm just as bad. I look at my Steam library and be like, huh, I did buy that game like 7 years ago.
I'm the worst. I have the worst because I have like multiple versions of the game depending on what console I bought it on. I think I have like 3 different versions of Borderlands: Xbox, Xbox 360, and PC.
Yeah,
Go figure.
it happens. When you see a sale, it's like, why not?
Yeah, I mean, talking about this device is cool. I mean, I'm curious to see if the device works. So, I'd love to get my hands on it just to see how functional it is. It's supposed to be a little bit more powerful, but then again, the Nintendo announced their OLED screen switch, which we'll see how that does.
It'll do what it does, but I'll just wait and see. Play the wait and see approach. I have enough games and enough systems, so I'm good.
Yeah, me too. In fact, I think I got a notification. I think Microsoft Flight Simulator is about to release for Xbox, so I think that's my next game I'm going to play because, and I got this cool new thing which I'm going to talk about in the after show. So that might be how I get some time in playing Flight Simulator when it downloads good.
That's where it happens. I'm looking forward to Hades.
Hades, can't wait for that one. Let's move on to some odds and ends.
Oddies and endies.
If you are a part of our Discord channel, there's a section called Odds and Ends, which Ry is now posting the weird and unusual stories that he finds throughout the week. Normally, we sit there and put it forth to the Discord members to vote on which ones they think are hilarious and they'd like to hear our opinions on. I think this time we just kind of picked a few at random because, we're getting back into the swing of things and whatnot. So let's talk about some of those odds and ends.
Oddies and endies. What we got on deck first, Scoob?
Oh, let's talk about a new set of audiobooks. If you're a fan of, let's talk about some new release audiobooks for the Lord of the Rings franchise.
There we go.
You're a fan of the Lord of the Rings and want to listen to it in audio, but you really want to have a great time listening. I'm guessing this might be the set you'd be interested in because it's narrated by none other than Mr. Andy Serkis. That's right.
Sir.
Gollum himself is telling you the story about those evil hobbits.
Yes. As reported on Nerdist.com, the bookseller reports that this September, HarperCollins will release new audiobooks of Tolkien iconic series, all read by Andy Serkis. End quote. So, fans of Middle Earth will get
I was kind of glitching on it. Fans are going to get an extent. Get this and be curious. This is on Nerdist.com. On Ry to come back. I know I watch the Peter Jackson trilogy every year at Christmas, both Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, but I don't have them on audio, so it'd be nice to see these on audio. Ry, are you back with us? I see your eyes moving.
I'm here. I can hear myself, so
that's good. Welcome back.
Oh yeah, but yeah, this is definitely, I think, a worthy investment for any fans of Lord of the Rings. So,
actually, this is an interesting bit in the article. Fans of Middle Earth got a taste of what it will sound like last year when Andy Serkis did a marathon reading of The Hobbit to raise money for COVID-19. His Hobbit-thon brought in more than $400,000 US. And
that is definitely
led to recording an official audio set of audiobooks for them. So that's pretty impressive, especially hearing what kind of voices he had for all the characters. Curious his Gandalf impression.
It'd be interesting. Do the Gandalf impression with Gollum while doing Gandalf. It is double vision.
Alrighty, so we had that. So we alluded to this earlier, and that is, a Florida man stole an alligator from a golf course
Florida strikes
and tried
again.
to teach it a lesson by throwing it on the roof of a bar.
Yes, sir. Put the link in the chat, as reported by our local news outlet, Wavy. They said
I
a 30
heard this yesterday morning on my Wall Street Journal feed because every morning when I drive to work, I put on This Morning with Gordon Deal for the Wall Street Journal, and this story was one of the closeout stories, and I thought it was absurd then. And seeing this, I still think it's pretty absurd that how have we gotten where it's like somebody thought this was a good idea?
Yeah, I just don't know, but this 32-year-old man of Daytona Beach Shores thought it was nice to grab a gator and throw it onto the roof of a cocktail lounge right off the highway A1A.
The Daytona Beach police officers spotted him attempting to throw the gator on the roof of a cocktail lounge and arrested him.
Yes.
Apparently the alligator was chasing people prior, or this is another story, but this is ridiculous.
That's just kind of funny. Trying to save the world by throwing alligators on roofs. There you go, people.
I'm wondering, what lesson were you trying to teach the alligator?
I don't know, because if you throw an alligator on the roof of a bar, he'll just crawl into the bar and get himself a free drink. It is Florida, so.
Either that or it's like, what lesson do you expect the alligator to retain from this? Heights are bad?
He's not going to know. He's not going to care. He's just going to go down and go back into the swamp. Or better yet, go back on the golf course.
Oh, Hilton's in the house. What up, Hilton? Thanks for the sub, buddy.
What up?
Man. So let's see. We have the shifting of bridges. What was up with this one?
Well, it looked like somebody was driving too hard and too fast, a semi, and knocked the foundation of a bridge so far that it shut down the interstate and led to Georgia Department of Georgia DOT to have to decide to take down the bridge.
Wow.
So yeah, that's basically what happened here. So the bridge is beyond repair, so they have to take it down.
I mean, is this an instance where the bridge was too low and the guy wasn't paying attention?
I don't even know. I don't think so. I think he was just going too fast.
Yeah, so westbound lane's open. Yeah, there's not a whole lot in this, but judging from the pictures, I would say either he was going, it was a low bridge and he was going too fast and wasn't paying attention. And we've seen how that is when a semi goes in a place that's too low and it just tears the top off. Only this time it didn't tear the top, it just took the whole trailer.
Yep. So they haven't decided if they're going to charge the driver or not. But the good thing is no one was seriously hurt. Except for George's budget.
That is a good thing. And our last story is Goose Love. And this is a feel good kind of deal. We had a female goose being seen by the vet, and apparently her soulmate was waiting outside watching through the window the entire procedure. Aww.
Yeah. So while he was getting surgery, the goose decided to wait out the window until it was done. The goose fractured his foot, and the wildlife hospital took him in to get him worked. So good to have love.
It's good to have companionship. It really is.
Yeah.
But I think that's it for as far as odds and ends stories. Want to thank you all for watching. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification. If you're enjoying this, please smash that like button and feel free to share this out with your friends and cohorts. We always welcome having more people watch us, share the love, so to speak. Y'all are awesome human beings for sticking around to the end. If you're a Patreon member, stand by. We're going to be shifting over to our after show exclusively on Patreon. I want to again thank Sirenscape for the background music and soundboards we've been listening to tonight. The curated list I made on their for the online player for Scuba and The Ry. They got a plethora of other soundboards and soundscapes you can use for your tabletop games or just general ambient background music when you're cranking out story writing or some other project in the house. That's pretty much it for this week. Do want to point out again that on July 30th, July 31st, next Saturday, Challenge Accepted will return at 7 p.m. Eastern here on this channel. Find out what has been happening in the city of Saltmarsh since the pact and the treaty was signed between the lizard folk and the residents of the city. See if you're going to find that guy who thinks that lobster ale is an acquired taste, and we'll talk to you at length about that lobster ale. Tune in for that. And with that, we will be back next Tuesday, 7 p.m. for more Scuba and The Ry. We thank you all for sticking with us. Y'all have a wonderful week, wonderful weekend. Stay safe, love each other, and we will see you on our next show. Bye, everybody.
Peace.